Fallingtower drummer was a lobster, apparently. Squid Game is going to be responsible for an uptick in sales of tracksuits.
Squid Game was just super intense.
Squid Game is a TV show where I still wonder, where is the squid?
Aha. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtower's Watch the First podcast in which what is that? A screwdriver. It's a sonic screwdriver. It's the podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. Today, we're doing a review of Squid Game, episode 1, Red Light, Green Light on Netflix. Joining us, as always, the tool-wielding, the cool-wielding, the pool partier, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
Happy Halloween, everybody. It's Halloween.
I should have said that at the top. It's a Halloween extravaganza, ladies and germs.
Obviously, that's why we're all wearing our normal clothing.
And aliens of all types. We are also joined by Dead Red Riding Hood herself. Kelly Park.
Just that noise, but
my name is Ryan T. Husk. Oh, right at the top, Michael, do you recognize this Halloween costume I'm wearing today?
Oh, you mean the Halloween costume that I made for you for Renaissance fairs? That I sewed with my own 2 hands and a sewing machine?
Wait, no, that wasn't you. It was you. Michael made this outfit for me, and we would wear it to, they say it's not a Renaissance fair. They say it's a fantasy festival or I don't remember. But anyway, Renaissance fair. Michael made this for me. He sewed it with his own 2 hands.
And a sewing machine.
And everybody listening in, it looks amazing. Not as amazing as Kelly Park's Dead Riding Hood, nor as amazing, maybe more amazing actually than Michael's mechanic outfit.
Oh, that's what it was.
See, Michael today is dressed up as a mechanic named Mike. I'm just Mike. I'm a mechanic.
Like the band, right? Mike and the Mechanics.
Yeah, I'm like Mike from Mike of the Mechanics. Yeah,
it's like a 60s
I thought you just
band.
brought a screwdriver on for fun.
Oh, I get it. It's part of the very good. Boy, oh boy, I'll catch up.
It's a prop that goes. I mean, it is actually a screwdriver, so it's not actually a prop screwdriver. It's a real screwdriver, but I'm using it as a prop to go along with my costume. Now Ryan's looking for a prop.
Yeah, and I've got just the thing. While you guys found it.
Oh, you ain't messing.
It's actually
small ass knife.
It's actually a letter opener. It's my letter opener, but I call it Sting because
it looks like
how cool is that? It's a little guy, and he has
the
little guy
Slater
hands.
Stinger.
Anyway, people that are listening in have no idea. It's a letter opener that just looks like a 6-inch sword thing.
An S word.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this show. If you want us to review a series in the comments below, say WTF and the series. For example, when people said WTF Squid Game, we're like noted. And then Mike was like,
Eve England said it, actually.
Yeah.
Eve
When Michael
England
said noted, he actually said, but really, let's do it for real, though, for Eve.
Right. Yeah.
So
and for Halloween. So we're like, this is probably a good one to do for Halloween. Mm-hmm. It's like #1 on all, like on Netflix in like every country or something like that. So we should probably do it. Thanks, Eve.
Big holiday.
Shout out to Eve England out in Wales for this one. So this one is for you. And this is our Halloween extravaganza. So remember, everybody, WTF and whatever series you want us to review. WTF Empty Nest, for example, WTF Cheers, WTF Wings. You get the gist of it. That stands for Watch the First. Let's talk about this show. First game we like to play. Am I right? Am I on track, Michael?
Yes. Okay. First, we play a game first.
And it's my favorite game, everybody. That's why
it's his favorite one. He loves this game.
Michael and I have known each other so long that he sews my Halloween and Renaissance Fair outfits. And
Long
they're not
time ago
costumes.
when I had a lot more free time.
They're called outfits. Anyway,
Get
so we like to predict it if the other person liked it or didn't like it. And actually Kelly and I have known each other for, my goodness, it might be like 10 years or something, right?
When I first got out to Los Angeles. So
yeah.
about 10 years.
You were like 13, right? 10 years ago.
Right.
So here's the key. Michael, my guess. Oh, what do you call this game, by the way, Michael?
Oh, this is game. So it's kind of like, so I guess there's been some controversy.
Oh, dear.
I've been calling it predicaments, because we put ourselves in a predicament with our predictions. But then some people like the old prediculations as well. So take your pick, prediculations or predicaments. But I prefer predicaments, really.
That's some legitimate
Brian hates them
controversy.
both, but,
that is some controversy. That is some drama mean, because it put me to sleep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
here we go.
yeah.
That's a good joke, right? Kelly, drama mean, whatever.
No, it was terrible.
That was great.
Okay, so I predict, Michael, I was going to predict that you hated this show for some reason, but the fact that you gave me a hint and said it was intense means you at the very least felt the emotion that they were trying to make you feel. So I'm going to call an audible, and I'm going to say, Michael, you liked this between moderate like to very like. I'm going to put you right around a 7 to 8. Yeah, 7 to 8. Very solidly like. Kelly, you're definitely a glass half full person. That's why we love you so much. You also dress well. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say you like this. You are a fun-loving person. You want things to excite you and scare you and make your mind wander. You liked it. Michael, what do you think?
All right. So I should have said that that Squid Game was like Cub Scout camping, intense. That doesn't have to give away how I feel if I liked it or not. Just that it was intense.
That's just my guess.
But for Ryan, my guess about Ryan is when it first started, he's like, "Oh God, what is this crap?" It's like dubbed over from Korea, and I have to like listen to this badly dubbed over TV show for an hour. So first of all, he saw that it was an hour, and he's like, "Oh God." And then he saw that it was like dubbed over, and he's like, "At least it's not subtitles." But I think like the first half of it, I think Ryan was bored and didn't care about it. And then the second half of it, once things started going down, he was like, "All right, okay, it's all right." So Ryan's going to be very medium on this, maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of like 4 to 6. Kelly, though, I believe, was into it. I think that she liked the first half. She liked the story behind how this guy gets into the Squid Game. And then once the Squid Game started, she was like, "Whoo, ooh, ooh." Like every time there's a gunshot, she's like, "Ah!" And she felt scared for them in the arena.
Wow. All right, Kelly, good poker face. What do you think? What do you think we felt about this?
Well, okay, I'll start with Michael. Michael, I'm thinking that you kind of like on what Ryan said. I would suspect at first you wouldn't like it, but I think you liked it. We usually, like, I don't know. I usually guess wrong about you. So I am going to go with the opposite and of what I kind of thought. And I think you liked it. I think you would give it a 6 or 7. 6.7. All right. Ryan, I think that you probably, and I definitely am going to piggyback I bet you thought the first half hour was, a little, like dubbed or boring, blah blah blah. I mean, I think that you might be curious about, the different culture style of the making of it. But other than that, and then once things started, then I bet you're like, okay, I can do this. I still think you liked it, you didn't love it, and I think you are going to give it a 6, 5.5, 6.
Okay. So everybody at home, you've gotten some hints from the experts. Now it's time for you to make your predictions, predicaments, prediculations, whatever the predict word of the week is going to be. Put it in the live chat or in the comments below. Do you think I liked it? Do you think Kelly liked it? Do you think Michael liked it? Type that in right now. Make your guesses. See how good you are at this game. And Michael's going to buy us a little bit of time by telling us, what the heck is this show even about, by the way?
Hundreds of cash-strapped players accept a strange invitation to compete in children's games. Inside, a tempting prize awaits with deadly high stakes, a survival game that has a whopping 45 billion won prize at stake. Hoping to win easy money, a broke and desperate Ji-yoon agrees to take part in an enigmatic game. Not long into the first round, unforeseen horrors unfold.
Wow. So everybody at home, we hope you've made your predictions, because we're going to start giving you some hints as to whether we liked it or didn't like it in a game we like to play called, well, Kelly called it, called What We Expected versus What We Got.
Expectations.
That's right. So we compare and
sense.
contrast what we expected versus what we got. So, Michael, before you watched this first episode of Squid Billies, that was the thing that I was going to say before we recorded. I had to say it in my head 10 times Squid Game because I kept wanting to call it Squidward. And I was like, I'm going to hit record, and the first thing that's going to come out of my mouth is Squidward. So I was like, Squid Game, Squid Game, Squid Game. And I nailed it. Anyway.
I didn't know you were such a big SpongeBob fan.
Never seen it. Don't like it. Nope, not at all. Although, never mind. I'm not going to get into that. I had some SpongeBob square butt or square pants boxers that I also hated, but that's what happens. Sometimes you get clothes that you don't like.
Sometimes. By the way, I just did a quick calculation. 45.6 billion won is about 38 million US dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a check on that too. Because I was like, okay, their number system is very different from ours, because they are spending it was like 10 million won for a sandwich or something like that. I was like, okay, clearly, yes, clearly there's something different here. Anyway, so Michael, before you watch this first episode, what did you think?
So I had seen the trailer for this television program. And so based on the trailer, what I could glean is that it was a show about a game with deadly stakes. A game where you can win a bunch of money, but if you lose, you're dead. That's what I expected.
Well, all stakes are deadly if you think about it, kind of like cigarettes.
Well, all stakes are high if you lose and it ends in death. So, but I think I had heard that they have the chance to win a bunch of money as well. So, obviously, this has been all over social media. Like Saturday Night Live did a music video sketch about it. So I had pretty good idea of what was going on before I went in. So.
Kelly, before you watched this episode, what did you think, if anything? What did you expect?
I thought it would be very I thought it was gonna be kind of like Hunger Games, scratch the hunger, and just write in squid. So I thought it was gonna be like someone kind of got yanked against their will. Like they wanted the money. I got it in the trailer that they wanted. It's for money, but I thought is, maybe they like turn their whatever because people are like, oh, it's really, life and death, blah, blah. So I thought, well, if the people knew, I mean, they probably didn't know, but I thought it was going to be very like Hunger Games meets Squid Games, or something like that. So that's where my mind was kind of going as I zoomed in.
Makes sense. I'll tell you what I expected.
All right.
Pretty similar. I had seen the trailer. I think right when you go on Netflix, right when I went on Netflix, it just started playing the trailer. It didn't say, hey, Ryan, you haven't been on Netflix in 7 days and 4 hours. Would you like to see the Squid Billy's trailer?
Squidward.
Yeah. And I was like, I just turned it on and it just started playing. So I saw it, and that made me think, this is what I expected, that it would be a show about, the violent game. It's like the silliness of children's games, but turned deadly, that we all kind of can get pretty easily from the trailer. And I thought I was like, oh, that reminds me very much of like, I don't remember what it was. There was a movie in the 80s or 90s that was very much like this, but with like high school kids or something. Somebody in the chat or in the comments below is going to know this. It's like 80s or 90s. And it was like a classroom of high school kids, and it's like a competition where they're just all slaughtering each other or something. It was pretty cool. So that's what it reminded me of. And I was like, okay. When I was going to watch it, I said, I may enjoy this because that's going to be fun and exciting and at least easy to watch, right? Easy to watch. You're going to watch stuff. People are going to die. Stuff's going to happen. It's going to be exciting and fun and whatever. That's what I expected.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. But what did you actually get, Michael, when you did watch it?
So it reminded me a lot of, I definitely got the Hunger Games vibe. And there was a novel by Stephen King written under the pseudonym Richard Bachman called The Long Walk, where basically a bunch of people get together and they walk from Maine down to like Florida.
Oh,
but it's like a forced march. And if you drop below a certain speed, I think you get a couple warnings, but then after that, you're shot.
Whoa, that's my Keanu Reeves speed impression.
Yeah. Also to win a bunch of money. So you're taken all along the journey in the mind of one of the people on the walk, and it needless to say, it's pretty psychologically, it's pretty much psychologically fuckery to be walking for that long and under those stressful conditions. But the main difference between Squid Game and The Long Walk and the Hunger Games is that The Long Walk and the Hunger Games, they knew what they were getting into.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that if you lose your life. And the Hunger Games, it's kind of similar circumstances where you have no choice. It's ordained by the law that you have to participate if you're chosen. But for this one, it's they have a choice, but they don't know what they're getting into. That's the main thing. And that's one of the scarier things about it, is because if you know, okay, you're going to go play these children's games, but you could get shot in the face if you move after she says red light. If you knew that, you might not be so quick to want to sign the paper to sign up to play these games. But these guys are all in dire straits because of issues with money, these issues they've gotten themselves into with money. Like the lead character, Ji-yoon, he's like got a gambling problem. His mom gives him some money to go buy a present for his daughter's birthday, and he just goes and like gambles it, and like he ends up winning, but then he gets the money stolen, and then like his bookies catch up with him and beat the shit out of him because he owes them a bunch of money. And so he's pretty much screwed. And I don't know why I'm giving you guys a whole summary of the TV show. Everyone's probably seen the TV show anyway.
It's a preview of this whole review right now.
Yeah, everybody's seen the show anyway already, but because it's like the number one show on not all streaming platforms, on Netflix, obviously throughout the whole world. But yeah, what I got is that it's kind of like a scary scenario to be in, because you're screwed if you don't. And then you're screwed if you do, because then you could die.
True. More on that later. Kelly, when you watched this first episode, what did you actually get?
What I got, well, I will say what I got at first was we got a hefty, solid background of the main character. I thought it was going to jump in a lot faster. And when I went to pause it to get myself another beverage, I noticed that it wasn't even that we hadn't gotten to the location yet, and it was already over the episode was already halfway over. So I definitely thought that was a different expectation, or what I got. And I also got very interesting, like intense personalities from the characters. I didn't know what to expect in that kind of, like, because it is a different type of show, because it's not made, it's made overseas. And definitely got some intense type personalities. So I was like, yeah. So yeah, it was there was a lot. It was a lot different than I thought it was going to be, to be honest. Even though I expected different things, or like kind of similar things, there was a lot of things that I went, huh. So
all right. Lots of huhs in there. We're going to talk more about those in a moment. I'll tell you what I got. I guess I should have thought of this ahead of time. But the truth is, Kelly, girl, same. Okay, look, guys, that first half hour, that should not have been in the script. That's gone. That is so gone. Yeah. That is so gone. That is so gone. It took them 40 minutes. It took them 40 minutes before they got to this, the place. And you can give them 1 to 5 minutes of setup or whatever, if you want to give backstory, because you can give backstory throughout the show. You don't have to, like they can say, what were you dreaming about when he wakes up? Oh, my daughter, she's moving to you, whatever. I'm not saying necessarily that I didn't enjoy the first half hour. I'm saying that should not have been there. That should not have been in the script. That the show should have started a half an hour later, and all of that exposition. I mean, that was a completely different show. I can't imagine they're going to be showing much of that throughout the subsequent episodes. We don't need all that. We don't need 40 minutes of exposition. Don't need it. So I was a little disappointed in that. The Squid Game itself, once they finally got to it, I was like, okay, that's cool. That's what I signed up for. That's fine. I had a lot of nitpicks with a lot of the things going on there, but what if it felt okay. Bottom line is, it felt like I was watching something from 1988. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was watching something from 1988, some cult classic. That's what it felt like. But Michael.
Okay.
Because I have a feeling
I nailed that though. You gotta admit.
No, you said I didn't like it. It's not so much that I didn't like it. I just think that it was completely unnecessary. I don't think it should have been.
Yeah, you just hated it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You could explain a lot of what happened in that first 40 minutes. You can explain those
throughout the series.
Or you could have chopped him down by minutes, like 10, 12 minutes, like the scene where, he's going to gamble. We get it. And then we knew that obviously these guys are coming after him. I mean, all that stuff can be edited way down, just to like get going.
Well, I'll say this though. I mean, really, I feel like they needed to show a lot of that. I think it could have been trimmed, but I don't think it could have been, like, completely been eliminated, because you really need to show how desperate this guy is to want to just, for throw away everything to do this game that he knows nothing about. He knows that there's a possibility of physical harm, because the game that he plays in the subway with the guy, where they're trying to flip each other's little things over, he gets slapped a bunch of times. He gets slapped a bunch of times. And to the point where when he finally wins, he thinks, all right, I get to slap this guy now, but then he gives him the money. Yeah, his cheek is all red and screwed up. But I feel like, especially the stuff with the daughter, that's the stuff that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he needs money, or he might never ever be able to see his daughter again, or she might move to America and not remember him. That is enough to push him over the cliff to take a chance on this game where he knows he might be in for some physical harm. At least he doesn't really know that he could die, but he knows that there is possibility for physical harm. If he's just getting slapped in the subway for 100,000 won, he thinks, okay, he's thinking in his head like, I'm probably going to get really messed up if I lose this game.
Maybe. And 100,000 won is like 40 cents. So, what's the big deal? No, it's like
$100 bucks.
I was thinking $100 bucks, and then
85 bucks. Because I think it's won to dollar is 1,177.54. Reverse is $1. Sorry, 1 won equals $0.00085. I looked
so $100
that
bucks.
Up. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they should have cut it all out for sure. But out of those 40 minutes, I think you only need 1 to 5 minutes of that. Honestly, you could show the daughter. And again, if you've got 8, 9, 10 episodes, you can give a little more exposition as it's going. And most television nowadays, gets that or does that, where like they're not going to give you 40 minutes of backstory. They're just going to kind of get into it and give you a little bit more backstory as it goes on. Anyway, like I was actually really surprised by that. I did not expect that. I thought that it was going to be like brainless, mindless, shoot people and blow up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the extreme in the other way. And I thought there was gonna be hardly any exposition or story. And it was the other way around. It was all story and exposition.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about this show that I know is it was made by a nobody. The guy who created this show like came out of nowhere. Even in Korean standards, he was like a nobody. Not that like Koreans are nobody, but I mean, in Hollywood in general, you usually think, oh, okay, well, what's some Korean show is not going to be popular in America. But even in Korea, I think I heard that he was a nobody there. And he tried for years to get the show made. But kudos to him, because now it's like the #1 show streaming all over the world. And I feel like he put his heart and soul into this. And I think that you get a lot of insight into the main character in that first half hour.
Mm-hmm. And that is a great story. I love that. I mean, anything that gets somebody else some money for a change or gives somebody new a chance, because he was kind of like the M. Night Shyamalan of Korea, South Korea, I should say, in that, he was trying and working and reworking. And I think I read that it was like 10 years that it just kept getting rejected for 10 years. And then finally got picked up. So that's great. And that's amazing. I am surprised, however, maybe they do things differently in Korean storytelling, because obviously my knowledge is mostly what I'm seeing out here in the States. But I am surprised that they didn't say, okay, cool, we'll buy it. And then we're going to rework it just a little bit, which is what I would expect. And then they massacre it or whatever, because that's what they do in the States. They go, we're just going to starting on page 1. We're just going to really just,
Well, that's why they adjusted though. But that's why I like Netflix as a platform in itself, is because they're really bringing out a lot of shows that are from overseas. Like I love that show Dark. I mean, I'll always harp about the show Dark that's on Netflix, and
WTF Dark. We can't have Kelly on it because she just mentioned it. So.
Yes, WTF Dark. Good one.
I put that in the comments because I love Dark. I thought it was really good, and they didn't. I mean, they did. I don't think they tweaked a whole lot of anything. They just put down, voiceovers for English and subtitles for all the signs that were in German. So it's I don't know, just saying. I like that Netflix does that. Like they, so it's getting to be a pretty solid place to, find foreign like shows that are kind of hidden gems, as they would say. So I don't know.
That's a good one.
fun fact, Eve England actually gave us a WTF for Dark already as well.
Wow, it's an Eve England marathon. It's all Eve
all these
all
shout
the
outs
time.
for Eve England. Yep.
Here's a fun question, guys, and I feel like this is an obvious question. I'm like, why didn't I think of this sooner? If you were presented with the opportunity to play in the Squid Game, extravaganza, would you do it?
Heck no.
I had a feeling you might say heck no.
No way.
No, not even if I didn't get enough information about it. I watched a lot of or listened to a lot of Dave Ramsey. He's a money guy on how to like pull yourself out of debt. And
Financial Peace University or something.
Yeah, anything like that. I just feel like money in the end, I mean, you can be really in deep, because even our main character, I feel like, his money is definitely an issue, but there's other pretty big character, flaws of his that, like, as him as a person or whatever, that I'm curious to know if later episodes, by the time he gets out of there, will he be a different person for the better? But there's just a lot of personality things that he needs to work on or fix or whatever that would keep his daughter, it's not just money. So I just feel like all these things, when it comes to just money, I just feel like it's so, I'm also not 8 billion yen and whatever debt, but
give it time.
Yeah, I know. I was like, time. Student loans are just the start. I'm not just gonna get myself a house. That's fine. But yeah, I don't know. I just, not without any information, would I do a whole lot of, like, not a whole lot for money, like a lot less than I know all the ins and outs. So
okay.
Well, luckily none of us are, I don't think, are in that position where we're super in debt and like we've got like bookkeepers after us to like, they want to rough us up because we owe them like tons of money. But I don't know, if I was in this guy's position, that's a different question, because then I might seriously consider it, even if I knew that your life is on the line. I mean, look,
your life is on the line anyway.
if it comes to like playing the Squid Game or like getting your liver taken out by some bookkeepers, like, I don't know, I think I might take my chances with the Squid Game.
I actually do have bookies that want to rough me up, but they say it's just because I don't like your face. And I'll tell you, it's kind of like, I feel the same way. Kelly, you mentioned it. If you don't know anything about it, like if somebody said you can win a bunch of money if you play the, well, I don't know, maybe that doesn't sound that bad because we don't know you're going to die, right? But then,
right.
So I probably would actually, if I didn't know that it was fatal, right? But then if they explained, by the way, it's fatal, and here's what the first game is like, I'd be like, oh, well, that first game is super easy as long as you're not dumb or ignorant on what the stakes are. So I'll totally do it. But again, that's knowledge. That's like, if they said you might die, I'd be like, fuck no. And if they said, but here's how simple the first game is, all you have to do is not move when we say red light, I'd be like, oh, then let's do it. Right.
But I think that's one of the reasons that made the first game so treacherous, is they didn't know that they could die.
Right.
And then once they realized, then it's a fear thing. Then once you're in it and you see everyone around you just getting shot, killed, then you've got the fear in you.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to keep a cool head. I mean, if you know ahead of time, then you can have time to prepare yourself. But if going into it, you have no idea, and then all of a sudden you see everyone getting shot around you, I feel like you're playing a completely different game at that point.
The one character I thought was really good in that like moment, like as they were shooting, he'd be like, because he's flinching, because he's trying to stand still, but there are literally people dying around him. So like, your body like just involuntarily reacts to like,
right.
People like the sound and the fact that literally you just dying. And so you're like, how do you stand still? Shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
that's why I think one of probably the most realistic thing I saw in a show that was very realistic, mind you, everything was very much, was when they all panicked and they all started running for the doors and getting slaughtered. That was, I thought that was cool, because that is what would happen. People would just panic and run for the door. So that was great to see. And it looked like the majority of them. Yeah, if I'm allowed to have one, I'm just going to have one nitpick here. Just one fact check.
Only one?
I mean, there were so many, but I don't want to I don't think the point of this show is to, whatever. There was a moment, and this is natural human reactions to acting and how people do things. But something I like to watch is if somebody gets shot, are they throwing themselves back? Is the actor or the stunt person throwing themselves back? Or if you watch closely, are they leaning forward and then going like that? And then every once in a while, you watch a shot in slow motion on this show where, boom, the back of the guy's head blows up. And after that thing presumably goes like this, his head goes forward. And then like he feels it. He goes, okay, time to launch myself. And I'm like, you don't fly forward from an impact hitting you backwards and then fly. Anyway, that I'm like, you shouldn't show these things in slow motion because that just.
Are you a forensic expert, Ryan?
Yes.
How many years did you spend in college studying forensics?
Well, it was about. But just don't show it in slow motion and we might not notice. But anyway, that's the only. Everything else, I'm just going to just pretend like it didn't happen.
I have a question. What do you guys think is the purpose of these games? Is it like just because this rich dude has this weird fetish where he wants to watch a bunch of people die?
I think so.
Does he have other people betting on it? Is it like a government conspiracy?
I think there's a lot of rich people watching. That's my theory. So, I mean, because I've never seen the show. I only saw the episode this week, the first episode. And besides that, I haven't seen any of it. So my theory is that a bunch of people are watching and paying a bunch of money. But I mean,
yeah,
but that's where I got that Hunger Game vibe, is if I had to guess.
That was the impression I got too, Michael. When I watched it, I didn't really think about it. I just assumed this was like some kind of sadistic, game that, these people are playing because they enjoy doing it. Maybe there's a government trying to teach lessons or something like that. I don't know. But that was just the impression I got. I was like, oh, it's just one of these dance for me, monkey, or watch the rats in the maze kind of situation. Did you have a different impression of it?
Well, no, I mean, there's just a lot of money involved.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you have to have this whole huge island that is probably owned by this corporation or by this dude or whoever is running the games. Maybe the lead man is like the lead man. But they have to like create all these games, which, they have all these guns they have to install. The high-tech robot lady who has the eyes that can detect any kind of movement and then shoot people right away, right? Yeah, Kelly knows what's up. She's right now looking. But just the fact that they've got so much money at stake too, 45 billion won is like the prize money. So either the guy is just incredibly rich that he does not know what to do with all this money, but more likely to me, there's a whole bunch of people behind it, rich people who are betting on these people because they all have numbers.
Exactly.
And so it's very easy for them to say, oh, I'll put $1 billion on number 101, or I'll put I'll put $3 billion on number 325 or whatever, so, and then obviously there's like a cut taken out of that, which is used to pay all the employees. That's used to, buy the facilities. That's also used towards the prize money too. So there's got to be big money at stake here.
And the irony of gambling. All these people, a lot of them are in their money issues. And most likely, what if this whole thing is about people who are gambling or messing with money in copious amounts?
That's what it seems like. It seems like this is their favorite game. They like to watch, they like to gamble on things with like really high stakes, like who's going to survive, a little foreshadowing, was the horse race, right? It's similar to a horse race where you're picking a horse based on what? a name, a number, what they look like, you know. And I thought the number was a nice touch. I really like that because then I'm like, cool, I don't have to remember names. I can just write down a number, you know, you know, but I like that, you know. I think it's a fun, nice touch. We know our lead guy is 456. We know the bully was like 101. I believe Grandpa Simpson was 001, right? You know, and so also like the Indian looking fellow, I should say. I don't know if he was Indian.
Right.
What was his number? 199. The blonde guy that died much more quickly than I expected was 324. So I like that aspect. I thought that's fun. And yeah, good point. It's like racing, you know. They're like 333 is my lucky number.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
I am just wondering, did you guys wonder if the, you know, Grandpa Simpson what was he actually counting? Was he really just counting? Was it pretty surface that his doctor said, you know, for dementia, or was he counting something different?
You know,
most likely it's probably surface. I thought about it for a good 45 seconds after that moment. I just wonder if most likely it probably was, but
you know, I'm not really sure, but I'll tell you what kind of threw me at first was that when I saw Grandpa Simpson wearing 001, I thought that meant that he's been there the longest and that he's survived 1,000 of these or something. You know what I mean? Like I thought that
that's
he's
my
like,
thought.
he's been doing this for 30 years and he keeps winning or, you know, doing stuff, making all this money. And then he goes home and he like gambles it or he spends it or whatever. And then they're like, hey, do you want to come again? He's like, hell yeah, I'm down with that thing. You know, like I just thought he was the first
these games
guy.
are easy.
I thought he was 001 because he was the first guy, but who knows why he was 001.
Well, I mean, my theory is that he's got something to do with, I mean, he's got some kind of insight. I mean, he didn't seem phased at all when people started dying all around him, and he just starts going.
And he's smiling.
But that might just be like the old person thing of like, you know, I got nothing to lose, you know, who cares?
Right.
Let's have some fun.
Right. But it seemed to me that he kind of had some insight. It seemed like, and I don't know that it's like he was there before, because I mean, once you win like 45 billion, you know, whatever is like $38 million, do you really want to go back and like risk your life? I mean, maybe it is the thing that, yeah, if you're a gambler, maybe it is the thing of where, or maybe he is actually like the real guy behind everything, and he just wants to see if he can like outwin everybody else.
I like that. Like maybe he's the rich guy behind it all, but he also wants to play. That's fun. That's a fun idea.
Right.
Or that he just won't get shot ever. Like, well, because like, yeah, even if he did move, the machine knows not to shoot him. Or so the next
maybe I think
he
if
just wants to play alongside.
I think if he's such a gambler that he would be willing to gamble with his life. I think that would be a really cool twist if he's like, yeah, I'm in it, you know, like, and I'm gamble with my life and this is fun, you know, because he seemed to be kind of having fun with it. And then Frontman's like, hey, boss, I told you not to call me boss. Just I'm 001. Don't ruin
everybody
this.
In the live chat who's seen this before. Don't give us spoilers. No, I mean, we don't know if we're going to watch.
No, but don't give the other
not,
people spoilers in the chat, though, is the thing.
Yeah.
Because that might be a thing.
I think everybody's seen this whole thing though already, because it's over. It's a mini series, and it's over. So
I think, right. Oh, Michael, you were right. I will fight you to the death that I'm not necessarily saying I didn't like the first half. I'm just saying that it shouldn't have been. It was unnecessary. It shouldn't have been there. It should have been cut out. But I will say you got me pegged when it said 59 minutes and 17 seconds. I was like, oh Christ. Okay. Okay. But there was a moment where I was like, after like 10 or 15 minutes, I was like, wait a minute. This thing is moving very slowly, which means they're not giving me a lot of information, which means I don't need to pause it to take notes. So 59 minutes was like 65 minutes to me, whereas usually it takes me an extra half hour because I'm pausing, I'm rewinding, I'm taking notes on stuff. But I was like, they're giving me like one piece of information every 10 minutes. I'm fine. I can lap these guys in my note taking. But anyway, you were spot on with that.
What did you think about the length, Kelly?
Like I said, I did not think it was going to take us 40 minutes to get to the games. I thought, just like you said it the best, is it could be trimmed down, definitely not taken out, but trimmed down in certain ways. And then I was going to say, they got me at they get me at the end. Obviously the end of the game, I'm like, what? Not wow, what? So, like,
oh man,
I felt like it went slow and then it went zoom.
Yeah.
So
you got gotten.
I got gotten. True.
I started getting nervous, like Kelly was going to start to divulge if she wants to watch the second episode or not. But good job, Kelly. Nice tease.
I've played
nice
this game
tease.
before.
Yeah, you have. Our stakes are much lower. Yeah, our stakes are definitely
eliminated. Kelly was never on it again, on the show ever again.
Oh, one other final point that I'd like to bring up. When it showed the rules, the first two, whatever, were kind of obvious. You kind of get it from watching the trailer, so I didn't even make a note of them. Number 3 was the interesting one for me. It says the game may be terminated upon a majority vote. And I was like, that is a very interesting twist. That, to me, that was a sign of good writing, in my opinion, because that creates this other element of, the whole democracy of it, which is like, obviously they never do get the majority vote, at least not till the very end, because otherwise this wouldn't be a series. Episode 3 would be them, the reunion or whatever. So I thought that's really interesting, because if that means they never get a majority vote, then that tells us that these gamblers got it bad. And when half or a majority of the people die, rather than them saying, fuck this, I got to get out, they start going, well, now my chances are way better.
Right.
Now I got a 1 in 70 chance instead of a 1 in 456 or whatever. So that's going to make for some very interesting scenes. And I'm actually almost more interested. That's like a 12 Angry Men or a Lord of the Flies type psychological studies to me. I think that's going to be really interesting. Yeah.
Excellent point. Yeah.
I think it's going to be great. That's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. Well, and you know that the main guy is going to be like, hey guys, come on, let's all get together and let's say, but like the 101 guy, the bully guy, he's going to be like, hell no way.
No.
He's going to get everybody against him.
You better change your vote or I'll rough you up. Oh, worse than a bullet, dude.
I thought the girl was gonna push him for sure.
Yeah, push him. Yeah. That's what
that would have been great. I love that part where she had his head. She's like, all I have to do is just do a little jiggle and you're gonna wiggle on the floor. But we didn't get it.
Like a squid.
Well, because he's gonna be like a protagonist or antagonist throughout the season, you can tell.
Yeah, but maybe he's an antagonist with a heart of gold. I will say, no, he's gonna suck. I will say that, like, I don't know. I'm going to allow myself one tiny little fact check as well. That, look,
another nitpick.
Part A is that 400 people were standing around while a dude was beating up a girl. Okay, let's call that part A of the nitpick. Where I'm like, out of 400 people, not one person was like, hey, cut it out.
But one person did say that. But he just wanted a piece of that girl too.
Or not 300 people all mobbing him and stopping him. Okay. But then on top of that, when the dude starts getting, threatened by douche bro, he's like, hey, everybody, this guy's going to attack me. And I was like, nobody stopped him when he was beating up a girl. You think they're going to stop him while he's beating up some guy that was talking jive to him? They're going to, you were just there and saw them standing back. Anyway.
I thought he was just being sarcastic, like, oh, this guy wants to kick my ass. Oh, big man.
Hopefully.
I was I didn't know if that was serious or not. I just kind of went with it. I was like, we'll keep going.
Speaking of keep going, well, hang
Keep
on
going.
a moment. Is there more to this, or shall we move on to the next, Michael?
I don't know. We could talk about our favorite characters.
Okay. I thought I was going to leave that alone. I thought, aren't we supposed to have a favorite? But maybe you're right. Maybe there was enough introduction to people to have a favorite. Michael, who is your favorite character?
I mean, obviously you're meant to feel for the main character, but the most interesting character to me is good old 001.
Ooh.
As you call him, Grandpa Simpson, the old guy. He's fascinating to me because he knows he's old. He knows that he's sick. He knows that he might be dying. He knows that there's not much to lose, but then there might be something more sinister behind him too.
Yeah. Little Red Riding Hood, Dead Red Riding Hood.
I actually find the main character annoying. So yeah, he's hard. Sometimes he's kind of hard to watch. But I actually really like the bully. I thought that he I would be really excited to see like what kind of person he ends up becoming if he survives. What would he be? And I think I don't know. I think he's got a lot more layers than what he's given off, in the initial whatever. And yeah, I don't know. Like I just like I thought obviously I will agree with you. I thought the whole confrontation in the circle where nobody even was like, I probably shouldn't beat up this woman laying on the ground. But even then, like other than that, like I thought, I don't know, it just showed already different dynamics when they were on the red light, green light. Like he was like had a little moment of despair, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I liked him. Yeah, I kind of hope he beats up the main character once or twice before.
There's definitely going to be more depth to him. Luckily, they are creating and like I'm sure there's going to be more to it with his relationship with the lady, because look, if she pickpocketed the main character, obviously she's done some shady stuff to and probably with the bully guy. So there's definitely going to be more to it. And I think the bully guy is going to end up being somewhat of an ally in a way. I do think, that it seems like there's a potential there. But
unless he just dies in the next episode.
Improbable. I thought the main guy was annoying too, because like, oh, he's a gambler. Oh, what's this scene about? Oh, he's a gambler again. Oh, what's this scene about? Oh, he's a gambler and a loser. Okay, and what's it? It was just like over and over. And eventually I'm like, okay, if you keep showing me what a dumb, annoying loser he is, I'm gonna take him as such and not like him. I mean, it's a good redemption story, but like, we don't need to be beat over the head with it. So yeah, I did find him a bit annoying, unlikable. I will say that 001 Grandpa Simpson Bond, was probably my favorite from the moment he popped up. Also, special honorable mention to the little daughter. I thought she had really good acting. I was surprised because usually little kids aren't very good. And when things are dubbed over, it makes it seem like the acting is not as good because the vocal inflection of the voiceover is different than what they're conveying. You know what I mean? So it makes the acting seem a little more herky-jerky, not good. But her nonverbal reactions and eyes and, the things she was doing, I was like, oh, very impressive. Good work, guys. So honorable mention to her.
Yeah, I liked her. I liked her a lot, actually. I was like, believable. She just, it was nice, good. Yeah, even for a kid. And then just like you said, just piggybacking. Yep, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of here, it's time to do something a little different for this Halloween extravaganza, everybody. Usually we like to do an interview and talk about, the business and things like that. But today, let's talk about Halloween for a moment. Let's share our favorite Halloween moments of yesterday. That's an inside joke, everybody.
Yeah.
From Bill the Thrill Hutchins. And one of
you know.
Actually, one of my favorite, that just reminded me literally of a Halloween memory that I hadn't thought of until right when I mentioned Bill Hutchins. One of my favorite Halloween memories was the Halloween right after I moved to LA. I came back up to San Jose, visited the pals, and it was, right around Halloween. It was obviously on Halloween. And we had a party, and we all dressed up as Halloween. And Michael and myself and our buddy Darth and Bill Hutchins, and I think maybe our buddy Aaron as well, and Nathan Allen. I mean, a lot of people, but the six of us, at least 4, 5, 6 of us were dressed up in our fantasy costumes. We're like a ranger and a wizard and a rogue, and I think Bill was a priest, a
cleric,
shivering cleric, right? A cleric. So that was really cool. We had a couple really good pictures of that, and we'll have to try to track that down because that was a really good picture. That was a very fun memory of the crew.
Bill was a cleric,
mm-hmm.
Darth was a rogue, you were a ranger, and I was a wizard.
Yep, that's how we do it. So I know, and Kelly's like, wow, they like the same stuff I like. So thank goodness that reminded me of that, because otherwise I didn't have one yet. And I thought of this days ago. Michael, do you have a favorite Halloween memory?
You stole mine. No.
And everybody at home, let us know your favorite Halloween memory, by the way, of course.
Yes, please. No, that was definitely a great Halloween. We're all drinking Hornsby's. Remember Hornsby's cider?
Best.
We're all drinking Hornsby's and fantasying it up. But one, I don't know if it's my favorite Halloween memory, but one of the most memorable Halloween memories for me is I think Ryan was like out with a girl this particular Halloween, because I don't think he was at this party. But there was a party at our friend Tim Fogarty's house, which was just down the street from where I lived. He and his wife, Catherine, I believe her name was. They were having a Halloween party. And a bunch of us, my brother, me, I think Alan, Sochi, a bunch of us went over there. And I was dressed like a pirate. And when I dress up for Halloween, I love to get into a character.
Oh, yeah.
And so for my pirate character, what better prop to have as a pirate character than a bottle of rum? And so I was drinking this bottle of rum a lot, and I got pretty drunk, and I was having fun. I was having such a good time, just buzzing, just drinking that rum. And there was like balloons hung up as decorations, and I don't know, I just started like popping balloons for fun because I was drunk. And this dude comes up to me. He's dressed up like a Raiders fan. Sorry, Raiders fans. And he comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, are you the one popping balloons?" And I'm drunk, so I'm like, "Yeah, with my bare hands." And it's funny because I was like I was sitting in like a chair when he came up to me, but then he like pushed me. And I guess this guy was just ready for a fight because he was a Raiders fan with like a football helmet on, and he pushes me over, and I fall backwards, and I'm just laughing. Oh man, I was laughing so hard. And then everybody else intervened and broke up. Obviously I didn't get my ass kicked that night, thankfully. But that was just funny to me that I was drinking rum, I was getting drunk, I was popping balloons, and then this guy, it's not even his house, it's not his party. He comes up and he's like, "Are you popping balloons?" And he wants to fight me. So that was fun.
The balloon police.
Scallywag.
Michael, I'm very hurt. I actually was there that night.
You were there?
Yeah, but I wasn't out. The skirmish happened outside. I was inside doing something else.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Because I remember you weren't outside with us.
No, I was maybe drinking something else other than rum. Although rum is perfect for a pirate.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you have a memory of popping balloons on Halloween?
Not that memory, but I would say I go a little bit further back when I was probably 6 or 7. I remember it wasn't necessarily my favorite memory, but it's one of my most memorable ones where I dressed it, it's just a typical fun Iowa evening of Halloween.
Nice.
And I dressed up as, I think, a hunter, because, we're
Ooh.
hunters in Iowa, I guess, but okay, not pirates, but whatever. And, and I dressed up, and then we came back, like went trick-or-treating and came back, and of course it's the it's the 90s or the early mid 90s, so they're our parents are kind of like still like chill, like they're not as uptight as some of the parents are nowadays. Well, they put on the movie Halloween, so I'm all like everyone, my sister's all scared, she's crying, but that was the first time I saw movie boobies. And I was like, oh, and then I remember the little my mom's hand just going like that. That was like boobies. But then but nothing will ever be as scary as the movie Twister. So that's probably what
Interesting.
Tornadoes.
I guess if you're out in the Midwest, that's pretty scary stuff.
Right.
It's real. I cried in the movie that came out. But yeah, that was one of the earliest memories of Halloween I had.
Wow. Yeah, you're watching Twister and you're like, that can't happen to us, right, Mom? And she's like, yes, it can. It happens all the time here. Good luck.
Oh, the opening scene where the dad flies out. That's for another WTF. But it was scarring.
Real quick, just because Michael and I are only talking about adult Halloweens because we're weirdos, but my favorite thing when I was a kid, obviously, was trick-or-treating with our good buddy Ben. And we would like have this whole plan of like the maximum amount of candy you could get. It was like you got to go to the apartment complexes so that you could hit more, you could go up the stairs and you can get 4 doors and ding dong, ding dong, ding. And then they open and you just, So one year we would get pillowcases because that can hold more.
That's what we had.
We filled up a pillowcase full, went home, went back out and filled up a third of another one. And that was like and then what we would do afterwards is for a week afterwards is we would play poker with our candy. And so we would gamble with our candy and, like a little crappy little candy would be the ante and we would add whatever. And then my mom would be like, I need to inspect your candy to make sure it's not poisoned or whatever. And she would just take all the Snickers bars out. But that's the key right there, right? Candy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got another story about when I was a kid in high school, a high school kid. And then it was me, Abel, Alan, and Bobby Garcia. And we're all on acid. And what was it? Bobby was like, I think he was like dressed as like a hoodlum or a thief or something. How he was. And Alan was dressed
how
up.
He was.
Alan was dressed up like a mechanic, I think, like I am now. I was dressed up like a Wild West cowboy, and Abel was dressed up like a wizard. But it was his like a costume his mom made for him, so he looked a little bit like a lobster.
A rock lobster.
And we made up some story that like we're all like ancestors of each other. Like Abel was like the oldest ancestor from like medieval times, and then I was the ancestor from like the Wild West, and then Alan was the dad, and then Bobby was the son. So that was a weird, fun Halloween.
That's fun.
And we're all on acid. But did I mention that?
Yeah, and that's why it was so great. And everybody at home, feel free to share your favorite Halloween memories, because my goodness, there's like every year basically gave us a good, fun memory. I've got so many memories of so many Halloweens, and they're the best, except for the more recent ones because I didn't give a shit afterwards. But maybe we got to start partying again on Halloween. Good stuff.
Maybe.
But God knows Michael and I can do this all day, reminisce, and Kelly can like go like this when we name all these names that she has no. She's like, oh, okay, thanks. I don't know these people.
She's like, I've heard the name Alan a few times.
Yeah, but we got to get back to work, everybody. Oh, and by the way, Abel was the first Fallingtower drummer. So shout out there. First Fallingtower drummer was a lobster, apparently. It's time for the bottom line, right? That's it.
Bottom line.
That's it. Terrible twos, as the French say. Bottom line.
Bottom line, as
Here we go.
Everyone else says.
Here we go. Final two questions of the podcast, and the most important, obviously. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. Question number 1 is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the first episode of Squid Game? Red light, green light.
Red light, green light. So I would give this a green light, and I would say that they should go make it. And I think that it's good that it got made. I like that Netflix at least is looking at less known filmmakers and giving them a chance. That gives all of us hope that something we make can get on Netflix and get distributed around the world. And based on this first episode, I would give this first episode a 7.5 at the risk of proving both of you right. 7.5.
Risk it. You're a gambler. Risk it.
Risk it.
All right. Very nice.
Craps.
Kelly, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of Squidward Billy's Game?
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this episode a 3.
Wow.
No, I give it a do not like. Didn't like it. I know. Kill me again. Unpopular opinion. I love that. I will definitely, till the cows come home, I will definitely say I'm so happy that Netflix is giving. I mean, all these people. I mean, people have some good work behind their hard work, and all this good stuff out there. It's just they don't get to see it because they don't have a name or a bunch of credits and blah 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 blah. So I'm so glad. I give it the green light for the production. I just didn't like it. The first half hour was what my eyes were starting to bleed a little, or maybe my ears. I don't know. I just
I'm not touching that one.
But then what I gave her 3 is that I really liked that last 10, 15 minutes. I mean, the red light, green light, I was like, I was on my seat. I was on the edge, the edge of my couch. My wiener dog was slipping off me, and I was like, Emrys. So, I mean, so I would definitely give it, a few points there, because I was like, the ending's pretty solid. And at the end, as soon as it went to credits, I went, oh. So, yep. Okay. That's my.
Good.
So you're basically giving it a point for like each 10 minutes that you were invested in the show.
A point for each 3 minutes.
Yes. Okay. Brutally honest, which is what we do here, everybody.
That's what we love. Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to do. On a scale of 1 to 10, all things being equal, I'm going to give it I'm teetering between a 9 and a 9.2. Psych. That's an 80s thing, which is where this show belongs. 80s, right?
You're giving it an 80? Is that even a score that we give?
No. Look, I'm going to give the same caveat everybody else did. I want to encourage this kind of stuff, and Netflix has been doing this for a while. 2-3 years ago, I was always watching like comedy specials on Netflix, and then suddenly I would be like, oh, this looks funny, and I'd play it, and it was in a different language. And I'd play another one, it was in a different language. And so I was like, oh, that sucks for me because I'm not going to read subtitles for a stand-up comedy show. I am not, right. That is not going to work for me. I tried, but it's great for those people. And so similar feeling, great for these people. Keep it up, Netflix, and keep it up, everybody that's dreaming to dream and is tired of 7 people in LA having all the movies and having all the fun. Personally, for me, objectively speaking, I'm saying this honestly, like objectively speaking, I think this is a 4. I don't think this first episode was very good. I think people really like the novel idea of it, which isn't really novel because it's been done before, but it's a fun idea. It's a cool idea. It's a fun idea. It's something. When I was watching it, well, the second half, the first half, I was like, nobody would like this. But when I was watching the second half, I was like, oh, wow, 12-year-old Ryan, I could picture all the boys in middle school saying, you got to watch Squid Game. I've watched it 4 times. I watched it 7 times. Oh yeah. Well, and they're like Super Lemons and Pogs, like things that are just like the it thing for 12-year-old boys. Right. But I'm not that, I'm like twice that age now. And so, right. If I saw when I was 12, I'd probably get caught up in it. Right now, in my opinion, I think it's a 4, but that's just on a scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 100, it's a 40. Anyway, the point is, question number 2. Ooh, and if it was a 1, it would be like 5,000. So, question number 2, for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of Squid Game. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, I almost said country, free to move about the internet. Michael
We're also
Kenyon
free to move around
Rosenberg.
the country.
Airports are having problems right now.
Well, you can drive.
Yes. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, would you watch the second episode of your own volition?
I love dystopian science fiction stories. When I mentioned the story The Long Walk by Stephen King under the pseudonym of Richard Bachman, that story stuck with me for a long time, and I've always loved that story. I should probably go back and read it sometime because I read it like a long time ago when I was a preteen and I was getting into Stephen King a lot. I love the Hunger Games. I love all these stories of like a messed up future where the rich people have all the power, kind of what we talked about in Altered Carbon, where these rich people have all the power, and then these poor suckers are just like pawns in their Squid Games. And but like Altered Carbon, maybe that's a bad segue, but like Altered Carbon, I would not watch the second. Like this story, I feel like I think it's a good story. I love the setting. I love that they're giving people chances. But what I don't love is this kind of like gross out horror gore stuff, which seems like where the show is going.
That's the best part.
Yeah, but I just don't care about that. I know Ryan loves that stuff. He loves like Devil's Rejects.
Oh yeah.
He loves watching people get murdered and stuff like that. I'm a pretty empathetic person, and I don't really enjoy watching that, which is weird because I really liked Hunger Games, but I don't know. But maybe because that's like so removed in the future. Like this seems like it's like present day and could be happening on an island somewhere in the middle of the Pacific somewhere. But yeah, so because I'm not into that kind of like gross out stuff, I would not watch the second episode. My wife may, because she loves like zombie stuff. She loves like zombie gore and like that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I might have to watch it if she wants to watch it. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm glad I did not watch this last night because it really affected me. And I feel like I would have had nightmares or something if I watched this last night. I watched it this morning.
Those would have been awesome. I love, oh man, that would be so fun. I love that kind of stuff. So I was thinking, Michael, that even when you gave it a 7.5, I was like, I think there's going to be a but in there. I think he's going to say, but I'm not. And with Kelly, I feel like there almost might be a but where like you give it a 3, but that last little bit. I mean, so what do you think, Kelly?
Well,
would you watch?
Let's wait and see what she says, though, huh?
Well, I'm gonna have to say that would I watch it? You're 100% right, Ryan. That last 10 minutes was the 9.5, that 1 point for each 3 minutes. I'm telling you, at the end I went, oh. And the only reason why I didn't watch the second episode was because I wanted to do this show, this little segment with you guys. I wanted to do it without like having any other like further knowledge of the show. Because I feel like that. Well, kind of. I think for this type of jam actually is better when you don't know more down the line. Because then it's like, I don't know. That's just with my vibe on how I do it with you guys now. Nice. But yes, I absolutely would watch the second one. The gore doesn't bother me too much, just because you're right. It's kind of it's its own little thing. And then I'm pretty desensitized on the whole like blatantly obvious gore. Now, if there were puppies or dogs in there or animals, pretty much of any kind, I would definitely not watch it. But for some reason with humans, I'm like, they had it coming.
They deserve it.
yeah. Well, like I said, blatantly obvious, and I'm like, well, it's whatever. But I definitely now I want to see a second episode because I want to know where it's going. There's a very good chance that after the second episode, I may not watch it because I may be like, nah, this is definitely a vibe that I'm not feeling. But I don't know. We'll just have to see. And yep, it's on my list now.
Nice.
Go Netflix.
Okay.
Real.
So Kelly, you are going to have to tell us, from my perspective, if it gets better, from Michael's perspective, if it stayed great, because I'm not watching it.
Oh, tell us how you really feel.
I mean, I didn't mind it. I thought it was fine. And I think that if it were on, I'm sure there are going to be some enjoyable parts to it starting in the second episode. I think I will personally like it a lot more starting in the second episode than the first episode, but it didn't hook me. I knew there was going to be a twist at the end. There always is, and I was waiting for it. I was thinking maybe it was going to be the next game, but then you feel like there's going to be 6 games and they have 9 episodes. So does that mean there are going to be some episodes that have no games at all? And then I'm like, whoa, that's going to be a toughie.
Probably.
So anyway, no, I wouldn't. If it were on, I'd watch it. I don't think the gore was, it was just squibs. Squid Game. Anyway.
Squidward games.
Yeah, so that's it. Everybody at home, if you'd like us to review a show, just tell us in the description box below. Sorry, that's where we're going to include Kelly's links in the description box below. Tell us in the comments section below WTF and whatever show you'd like us to review. This was the Halloween special, so we may or may not wear, crazy cosplay and outfits. Kelly might, because she's way cooler and more creative than we are, and she's great at it. Ugh, good stuff.
I always pirate it at the end. I don't care what I am. And I'm like, you're not pirate this time, Kelly. Quit it.
It's okay. Go with it.
Pirate Red Riding Hood.
We'll have you back for, oh, wait, no, that already passed. September 19th, Talk Like a Pirate Day, but that just happened. So, oh, well.
Well, there's always next year.
Yeah. Anyway.
Ooh, wait, I have one joke for you. It's a pirate joke. Everyone probably.
Okay.
Since I live in Iowa, right now, I want to tell you or ask you, how much do pirates charge for corn?
Okay, hang on. Oh, yeah, we know this one. Of course. Michael, you got it. It's like the football team. Mike, you got it, right?
I know.
Okay.
But I want her to say it.
Okay.
How much? I don't even know.
A buccaneer.
Oh, you did it.
I think that's like a Halloween joke that Darth told us once, where a kid was dressed like a pirate and he goes trick or treat, and the little girl or the lady says, "Oh, little boy, oh, you're such a scary pirate, but where are your buccaneers?" And he says, "Under my bucking hat. Now give me some candy."
That's the same punchline for how much does a pirate charge for ear piercings?
A buccaneer, yarg.
Oh, I like that one too, but I like it under my bucket.
All right. So everybody in the comments section below, tell us your favorite pirate joke. Keep it clean.
How about this one? Here's a good one. What is a pirate's favorite letter?
R. Come on.
No, wait.
You may think it be R, but the C will always be there first.
A plus. And with that,
keep going. We could just keep going.
everybody at home, please be sure to share this, give this video a like, subscribe, tell us what you want us to review, and have a great day. Go party and have fun. Be nice to each other, for God's sakes. Enough with the rudeness. Go be nice, give each other candy and treats and stuff.
And don't take money without knowing what you're getting it for.
Yeah.
I mean,
very excellent point. Yeah.
I mean, I can't get behind that. Anyway, I think that's it, right, Michael? Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that this podcast, boy, oh boy, was fun.
This podcast was just like Boy Scout camping. Intense. Also,
this podcast was fun, riveting, but did not have a squid either.
Oh,
but that's okay.
So everybody at home, check out Kelly, on social media, wherever you want. She's awesome. She's rad. She's coming back to LA eventually. And always remember what Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say.
Don't forget to register to be an organ donor at Donate Life America. And don't forget to watch the first of things.